that white flag waving, this is to the bitter end. 'Cause this is what I live for. I never quit, no, no, this is what I live for. I take another swing, so I never miss, no, no, this is what I live for. It's time to kiss the ring, oh, I'm trying to get gold. 'Cause this is what I live for. This is what I live for. I never quit, no, no, this is what I live for. I don't wanna see that white flag waving, this is to the bitter end. 'Cause this is what I live for. I never quit, no, no, this is what I live for. I take another swing, so I never miss, no, no, this is what I live for. It's time to kiss the ring, oh, I'm trying to get gold. 'Cause this is what I live for. This is what I live for. I never quit, no, no, this is what I live for. 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 This is
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to do this interview with this powerhouse woman. She is an amazing mom, a loving and caring wife, a badass leader inside of our profession. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Tara Wilson. Tara, thank you so much for your time that you agreed to spend with me today. I know you have a busy schedule. But I want to jump right into it because you are one of the top income earners in your company. You've been in the profession for quite some time. You're like one of those people that have a overnight success with the 20 or plus years that nobody's seen before, the struggles and the challenges that you had to overcome. So, but I'll let you share your story. So tell us how, first of all, maybe like how did you grow up and how your family was kind of like raising you? Were you inspired entrepreneur, or it was like, how was it in your family when you were growing up?
Well, hi everyone. It's good to be here. Thank you, Marina, for having me. I'm so honored to be a part of this amazing culture and this event and everything. So, it's kind of a funny question. I grew up, my parents were divorced when I was 5, and my dad was a realtor. So anyone that knows the real estate industry, it's feast or famine. My mom and my stepdad were just kind of every day. Neither one of them had college degrees. They just worked odd jobs here and there and tried to make ends meet. So I grew up kind of lower middle class, and I always knew that if I wanted something, I had to earn extra money. I started pulling weeds at 9 for 50 cents an hour. I started babysitting at 11 for like $2 an hour. And then I got a job as a paper route delivering newspapers at 4:30 a.m. at 14. Worked at a pizza parlor delivering pizza at 16. And then I put myself through college. I went to UC Berkeley. I got a degree in psychology by working at a steakhouse. So I kind of always knew that my parents weren't going to be showering any money on me. My dad now was in the real estate industry, which I'd say probably more than anything outside of network marketing is one of those industries. It's sales. And so he did, have little books of like Dennis Waitley and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn that I used to poke around. And he would say all these like crazy statements like, hey, if you believe something's strong enough, the universe will conspire to make it happen. But that's about the only entrepreneurial influence I had in my life was maybe my dad.
Oh, that's awesome. And what's interesting, sometimes people utilize their background either as an excuse to not succeed, because there's this like, well, how do you expect me? It's like my parents were barely scrambling and trying to provide for the family. So I'm not coming from college that was giving the red carpet or whatever else. I had to work my ass off to earn every single penny to put myself through college and do all of those things. So some people would utilize that as an excuse why they cannot succeed. And it seems like in your case, you utilize that as a fire, as a fuel to push you to the next level and actually show the world what you're capable of. So this is very exciting and interesting part of your story I didn't know. So tell me, when did you find network marketing? Was it kind of like something that you jumped in like full in and all of a sudden it's like, I'm gonna be a network marketing professional, or you tiptoed your way into it? And tell us how that journey started.
Yeah, well, it came kind of out of nowhere. So after having my first two children, I was first child, then I was in mortgage and wholesale mortgage. And then I had my second child. And I remember, so when my son, I worked from home typing real estate appraisals. And then I worked a little bit like restoration hardware for $10.50 an hour. And I was always the top salesperson. And I would win like these throw pillows and these Chanel blankets. And I was always excited, like, to just win. We won whatever we were selling, right? And it was never really about the money for me. It was always just like, what else can I do? What else can I accomplish? So I got into wholesale mortgage. And with my son, I was able to stay home till he was 5. And with my daughter, my second one, I have 3, I wasn't. And I remember looking at the date on the calendar every day going, oh, like that was doomsday for me. The day that I had to leave my baby with a nanny and go back to work. And it was just painful. I had this beautiful little girl I wanted to be with. So, every time I dropped the kids off and worked full time, I would be in my suit with my briefcase. I would run into Starbucks to get some coffee, and I would look over and I'd always be waiting in line, seeing these women, and they just had nowhere to go. It was, 9:00, and they were just, in their Lululemons, just having their lattes. And I thought that must be nice. But I never wanted to be like a stay-at-home mom. I love working. I had a great job. My husband and I combined made almost $250,000 a year. So I always tell everyone I'm not a rags to riches story. I had a strong 6-figure income. I had some flexibility, but the turning point for me came, I always show people this picture. This was taken the month that I got into network marketing. My daughter was 1 and my son was 7. And I went to pick up my daughter, and my nanny told me that she took her first steps, and it just destroyed me because I had always been thinking about it. And it just was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So right around that same time was the first time I was ever introduced to network marketing. I had a jewelry party for a friend, and I earned all this free jewelry. And when she dropped it off, she was like, you should think about this. And I was like, well, how much money do you make and how long? And it wasn't enough to even get me interested in doing it, because I'm like, I already am away from my kids. The last thing I would want is to make a few $100s a month and be away from them more. So it was never appealing to me, if that makes sense. And then my sister came in and my brother, and they had got into a really fast growing at the time. This is 2007. So this is March of 2007. I just passed my 14-year anniversary, and they had this company that was just growing leaps and bounds. And it was a health and wellness company, which is a personal interest of mine. So that's what was like, I guess, more the first thing that got it interested. And I jumped in. I was like, sure, why not? I know a few people who know a few people, the whole thing. We draw circles. Sure, I know 2 people, know 2 people, know 2 people, right? And I was just dumb enough to believe that I could do it. And within 7 months, I quit my job. With a plan in place. Within 8 months, I replaced my 6-figure income. Within 15 months, I tripled that. And so since 2007, October, I have been full-time in network marketing, and I love every minute of it.
Oh, I love it. It's so interesting. It's like sometimes you don't know what are the things and the events in our life gonna make you, I'm done. I'm done living the way I'm living, even though, like you said, you were making 6 figures before. So you're not like, living below your means or anything, but you did not have the luxury of time, the luxury of spending those important moments of your life and your kids' life together with them. So it's really interesting how network marketing is, allowing us to check so many different boxes. It's like, yeah, it's not uneasy. Nobody is promising you that you're going to be rich tomorrow. It's not an overnight success. It's like we're all overnight success stories with 20, 30 years prior that we kind of like made a lot of mistakes and failures and everything that nobody wants to talk about or nobody sees. But inside of our profession, there are so many different things that you can allow yourself to do, because if you don't live your life up until this point or until this moment the way you want to live it, then I guess everything you've done up until this point is probably not working. So maybe, just maybe now is a good time to open up your mind and think what is out there. What else? It's not that you need to work harder. It's just maybe there are different opportunities that you need to find a way how you can work smarter so you can spend that precious time with your kids, so you can spend that future and create those memories together and create some financial freedom for yourself. So it's really beautiful story, Tara. Thank you so much for sharing it. So tell me what and you guys watching right now, just post in the comments below. It's like if that was you, if Tara's story resonates with you, or tell us what was your kind of like defining moment when you decided to join network marketing. What was it? When you kind of like, you know what, I'm done crawling. I'm going to go and I'm going to take it seriously. So with now you kind of like building the business, what was your biggest mistake? I know a lot of people talk about like, okay, this is my biggest success story. This is my that. What was your biggest mistake or something that you contribute that is like, oh my God, and not in a bad sense, because I do believe all the mistakes and all the failures and all the fears that we have to overcome, all the challenges, they're actually making us who we are today. We are who we are because we were able to go through those obstacles and they made us stronger. So what was that maybe one disappointment or one, if you consider it failure or mistake in your life that either pushed you to play full out and take it seriously or provided a very valuable lesson for you that allowed you to strive higher?
I'm trying to think. So, going back to not being an overnight success, I really was successful already in mortgage. Like I went from $10 an hour, but I got into mortgage and I worked really, really hard. And I think my mistake is just believing that everyone that comes in is going to have the same mindset as me. Like for me, it's like, it's so far beyond material things or money. That is a great side benefit. I love it. I enjoy it. I love traveling. But for me, it's like, how much can we accomplish? How many lives can we impact? My biggest mistake is just thinking that anyone's ever going to take my business as serious as I do. So like constantly leading by example, like never taking my foot off the, brake, never letting it go too far. Now there's obviously in 14 years, there's been a transition where now I feel like I have helped or been part of grooming leaders in my team that now I can, but doing it too soon, giving up the reins of my business too soon, thinking it was never going to end. Because I'm sure a few people can kind of see this. I'm in my fourth company, but I will tell you that with pride because my first three companies aren't companies anymore. They don't exist. So it wasn't because I was like, oh, shiny object, boom, shiny object, boom. It wasn't that. It was that they declined so rapidly, I couldn't afford to keep the lights on. They phased out because they were just not growing. So my biggest mistake is, when you get the momentum, I'll tell you, it's harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top. So when you get to the level of success that you want, a lot of people will pull back and think, oh, I'm good. Well, here I am 14 years later, still working. Now, I probably could walk away from my business now, but I don't want to because what else am I going to do? I don't golf. I don't fish. I don't knit. I don't do anything crafty. So this is something that I wake up every day and do. But I would just say, I've only been in it 14 years. Right. And I always teach people, my son is a junior at UCLA and he wants to be a neurosurgeon. He wants to operate on human brains and spines. And that course from graduating from high school to being a surgeon is 16 years. And I always tease him because I know what the starting salary of a surgeon is, that I make more money than him. But even if it took me the 14 years to get here, like I feel like I'm at the beginning of my journey. I think people just don't take their business seriously. They don't like pour into it and build leaders. So my biggest mistake was I was doing it all myself, and I was assuming that leadership was happening. I was assuming that growth was happening on my team. And then I realized that my number one goal as a leader is to build other leaders, getting them developed, getting them doing the things, because you can't have a huge team. You can't ever walk away if you don't have leadership. So that was probably my biggest learning curve over the 14 years.
This is actually really powerful because, you know, a lot of people, they think that, like I said, once you reach certain level of success or a certain level of income, when you're fairly comfortable, you know, a lot of people slow down, and a lot of people think it's just like they arrived, right? And for some people, maybe that's the lifestyle they want to live. You know, they want to retire. And Eric and I, for example, we don't understand retirement because, like, I don't know what we're gonna do with ourselves. We just kind of like we're constantly running and gunning and creating something. So just kind of like sitting on the beach, it seems like, yeah, it's gonna be fun for a day or two, but like, come on, you're not gonna be like doing that for months and end, you know. So for us, it's definitely like you said, we reaching to the next level of success, we're reaching to the next level of influence, and it only pushes us even farther, because now we're realizing it's like, oh my God, we're only scratching such a small percentage of what is possible. Because if we can do this, imagine how we can do much more based on what we already learned in the last 12 years, especially inside of us as a network marketing pro company. You know, how much influence we can create. We already, I do believe that because of the training that Eric puts out and the events that we put out, there was some really positive changes inside of our profession. But now it actually excites me even more, because like now what we can do to take it to the next level. So it's fun to see, and it's interesting. Like, do you think some people are born with that kind of quality, with that drive, with that passion, or it's something that they develop through their life?
So for me, I think it's funny because I know a lot of the top leaders, it's very rare to find, like, I almost think like hard work skips a generation. And if you have hardworking parents and you were hardworking, good for you. That wasn't my case, right? I almost feel like I'm worried about my children, right? Because I did have to struggle. So I learned so early to have, like, I call it that eye of the tiger, like, I want to win. And I had a really good friend in high school. Always think about Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, because my dad was kind of out of the picture. My stepdad was jack of all trades, kind of poor mindset, like just get a job, don't go to school, da 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 da. But just very, watch TV for 40 hours a week. But then my friend, who I was like my best friend in high school, her parents owned everything in town. They were wealthy. They were a beautiful home. They took me on these vacations. I think they gave me a taste for it. And they, more than anybody, encouraged me to go to college, because that's what their daughter did. And that's what their daughter's other friends did. So I was, like, oh, if I want to be part of this part, like, I already felt like these are the kind of people I want to hang out with. I better go to college, right? So for me, it was like, I think just struggling and knowing that I was going to have to, there was no silver spoon. There was no trust fund coming. There was nothing going to be handed to me. And that I wanted to create something for myself. And it wasn't a chip on the shoulder. It was just, you know what? Why not? Why not? Why not create a fantastic life? Why not? I watched my parents struggle so much, and I didn't want to struggle like them. And so I didn't want my kids to struggle. I tell of course, now that we live in this beautiful home, they have no sense of reality. And I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about with a son that's a teenager, right? And I'm like, when I was a little bit of the, like, sucks for you, mom. Like, I didn't get a new pair of shoes. I didn't get a new this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, just my daughter, my 11-year-old, it's gonna be 12 in a couple months. She's like, I want a Gucci belt. I'm like, I don't even have a Gucci belt. Like, like, so far from reality. But I do, like, secretly, I don't tell them this, but I like giving them a beautiful home and new clothes. And I like that we can travel for their sporting events, and that we can have a new dress for their homecoming. And you know what I mean? Like, I like that they don't have to work and they can just be kids. But I do worry that it's going to skip a generation and they're not going to have the work ethic that I do.
It's interesting because you touch on some kind of like kids of the fairly successful parents, because I do totally understand exactly what you're saying, because like Eric and I, we have 5 kids, and the youngest is 15 years old, and he also kind of like, he's like his mom, a little fashionista. He likes good stuff. And on one side, I'm like you, I'm worried a little bit, because yes, it's super fun to give. For me, I mean, it's like, I love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday, not because I'm going to receive gifts, but because I'm going to give gifts, because I want to see their face, because like I'm putting a lot of thought into the process. It's like throughout the year, I'm listening, what are the things that they like, what they want. So I'm kind of like putting in my kind of like bank in my memory, and giving it for them for Christmas. So I love seeing them enjoying really good things that we did not necessarily have the ability or could afford at the time when I was growing up. But on the other side, one thing that I learned from my son, I think it was a very powerful lesson. When the whole Corona hit like big time a year ago, when everybody got on a full lockdown, and a lot of the countries right now, still in Europe especially, still on a very strict lockdown. Here in the United States, we're a little bit more freely moving around and have certain sense of normalcy. And when we were kind of like quarantining at home for like 2 months, not leaving the house, because he's a video gamer, he would come to me, and once in a while he's like, hey, can I spend $20? Can I spend $40? I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm buying a skin for this game. And I was like, what is the skin? It's like, it's just like such a foreign concept for me, but he's actually a pretty good gamer. He just hit number 64 in the world in one of his games that he's playing. So he's kind of a big deal. But, one time he comes back to me, he's like, Mom, can I spend like $100 or $200? It's like, dude, like, what the heck are you doing? And he's like, Mom, I've been playing for 5 years with some of the kids online. They're my friends. And there is a new game that came out, and they cannot afford it. The membership is like $40 a pop. Aww. And I have 5 of them I would like to buy that membership for. And I'm just like, whoa. Okay, so that kind of like gave me a little bit sense of perspective that, he's watching, he's paying attention. He's not just kind of like spoiled rotten kid, even though he still is, but he's seen what that other people don't have as good as he has. And he has that in his heart to help other kids and help other people. Yeah. So that was like a really, really good testament to me to see like what our kids are paying attention to. So once we started talking about kids, let's talk about kids. So you have 3 kids, right? And they're kind of like a little bit older. They're kind of like pretty much all in their teens, right? So what do you see? How do you think? Yes, we kind of like talked about they're a little bit spoiled. But on the other side, how do you see you working your butt off? You working your constantly and leading by example, because we already know, all of us, right, that you can tell people what to do, what they should be doing, but nobody does what you tell them to do. They do what you do. You always leading by example your teams, and you're leading by example your kids. So do you see the difference, how you were raised with your parents? We touched on that a little bit, but how your kids are raised because of you working so hard, an example that you're setting for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tease the little one. She's 11. So they're 21, 14, and 11. And my son was a 4.86 student in Eagle Scout, which is such a high honor, and volunteered at a hospital, knew really early on he wanted to be a doctor and then a surgeon, and is just so focused. He's at his junior year at UCLA. He's gotten straight A's the entire 3 years, and just really focused. And so I feel like, and he's always telling me, Mom, I'm so proud of you. Mom, I'm so happy. And then every time, so I'm in a health company, so every time something's like, oh, is it this about your product, or is it this? Like, he'll send me articles, but he's told me, I'm really proud of you, Mom. Like, you've really accomplished a lot. You're really successful. It's cool to watch. And of course, they love the vacations and the, $800 dinners on Christmas and the, nice presents and whatever they want. He just built his own computer. And so I'm always kind of nurturing that. And then our 14-year-old daughter, bless her heart, is not a 4.86 student. She's a barely like C, B student. And I tell her that she's probably capable of A's if she applies herself, but she doesn't want to apply herself, but she's extraordinary in softball. And so like, she's really good and she plays year round. She plays clubs, she plays ball, she has private coaches and everything. And I think that she's, as a freshman, she's 5'11", she's really good. She's playing on varsity. I think she has a good chance of like going to a division school and getting a scholarship. So that's good because it may not be like how I do things, but I'm seeing dedication in her. Now the little one's 11. The only thing she's really excited about right now is TikTok and her best friends. So I'm not sure I won't see anything in her, but she is very active. She plays soccer and she's pretty good at that. She does play year-round soccer. And so we're trying to nurture that. Doesn't care anything about school either, but does get good grades. So to each of their own, they're watching, they're always watching. They know what I do. Sometimes when they're little, oh my gosh, I used to sell weight loss. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you the funny story. My daughter is like kindergartner. She comes back, she goes, or like first grade. She's like, Mommy, I got somebody, my teacher is really, she didn't say overweight. She said, my teacher is really fat. And I told him that you could help him. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. But the fact is that I'm like, oh my God, I can never go to the conference for that teacher. And, but like, the point is, it was so awful. The point is though, she was watching and she talks about like when someone's like, oh, you're really like paying attention. She's like, oh, my mom gives me these vitamins and it really makes me come. So they do know like by osmosis and they do know. And I'm constantly reminding them because I did grow up, so not like this. And I'm like, they're like, you're on your phone again. And so I'm like, yeah, but I'm building a global business. I'm not on TikTok. You see this house you live in? I have to pay for that. So I'll be back in 30 minutes, So as much as I'm sarcastic, they do know. And we are very goal oriented. We talk about goals and I do not spoil them rotten. I give them enough. And we do charitable things. Like I got to take them 2 years in a row. A company builds homes in Mexico. We literally physically build the homes. We build them from the ground up with the blocks and the roofs, everything. And it's a lot of labor and it's very hard, but the kids get to nail the roofs and they get to lay the cinder blocks. So we did that 2 years in a row. And so that is one of the greatest parts about it. Like you said, is like my kids know that our money and our time is going to help other people. And so they do have charitable hearts and that's been fun.
Yeah, it's interesting to see and understand that they are paying attention. Absolutely, they're paying attention because, yes, we do joke about it that we kind of like giving them a lot because we trying to kind of like fill the void that we had when we were little, right? Things that we would want to have when we couldn't afford it. But at the same time, we showing them by our example what is the better way of life. First of all, that they can achieve anything they want in life, but also nurturing a good soul, good-hearted people who can help others, who can contribute to others' lives. And sometimes good grades is not necessary, showcasing the future of a person, because like I was a straight A student, Eric barely escaped high school, so it didn't stop him from being a successful person. It's so funny. There is a joke that the straight A students work for the C students. So kind of that's the case, but I'm the A student running the business. So I don't know. Anyway, but
I want to tell you one more story.
Yeah,
this
go ahead.
is good because it's from Eric. So do you remember, it was one of our meetings at your guys' house for the mastermind. Remember the story about World Class, the girl that stapled World Class?
Yep.
So that story was so good that the following Monday, the first time I got to pick up my kids from school, it was about a 10-minute ride home. And usually they're like, I want to plug in, get off Tony Robbins, Mom, I want to put my music on. And they took over. I said, no, I have a story to tell you today. And usually they're like, oh, like whatever. And I told them that story and my daughter from the back, and they were like this. They didn't say a word for the entire ride home. And so not only did they love the story, so a couple of days later, my husband was helping to coach the older one's softball team. And he said, he walked up and all the softball team was around my 14-year-old and she was telling him that story. Wow. And so like she was teaching him. So her nickname on that team was World Class. And I just thought that was so cool because of what a powerful lesson that was, that she liked it so much that she taught her peers that. So they are always listening. So tell Eric, I love that story. That's one of the
Yeah. Absolutely. And, it's just sometimes we don't even understand, how they absorb that information and what point it's going to come out. Because, like, I have a similar story. Tony Robbins was speaking at one of our events, and Dominic was sitting in the front row. I think that the first time he was probably 9 when that was happening, and Tony was talking about the state, and emotions are created by emotions and all that stuff. So, and Dominic was kind of like under the table playing his video game and kind of like listening to Tony and still playing video game. And then a couple years later, there was an accident where he was kind of like being a little naughty, which he typically absolutely not. So I was even shocked where it came from. And then all of a sudden he just snapped out of it and was like, oh, Mom, I realized I need to change my state and I need to jump up and down so I can change my emotions, because I need to physically create that energy to change that. And I was like, what? Who are you? What did you do to my son? So he was kind of like giving me Tony Robbins stuff. So it's just interesting to see, how they absorb and how they take all of that information and knowledge and attitude and the drive and passion and, care about other people. So it's super exciting. And, on one side, I want to shift gears right now because I don't know if you guys know, but Tara is speaking at the women's event, which is happening on May 14th through the 16th. It's 3 days event that we're going to be streaming from our studio here in Las Vegas. We built this beautiful facility. It's a 25,000 square foot state of the art virtual studio. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interactive. It's going to be, filled with a lot of golden nuggets. Don't think of that as your typical stream. It's not going to be your typical video. We're going to put you to work. We're going to work with you. We have the ability to talk to you, to unmute you, have a conversation like right now Tara and I are having. And we're going to give you assignments. We are determined to create some serious breakthrough for you guys. So make sure you register. It's mpw2021.com, like Most Powerful Women 2021.com, mpw2021.com. There are links all over the place. So make sure you register and make sure you show up. Not just register. I don't want, because the event is free. When there is a free price of admission, there is a free price of exit. I want to make sure you guys show up, because Eric and I were pulling out all the stops. We're bringing you the best of the best inside of our profession and outside of our profession, so you can, for yourself, see a bigger picture and believe in yourself and install that, confidence and also the skills that are necessary for you to take your business to the next level. So make sure to show up. I know some of you thinking it's like, oh my gosh, but I'm in Australia or I'm in Europe. It's going to be in the middle of the night. Well, guess what? If you want to change your life, you need to get uncomfortable. Eric and I are getting uncomfortable multiple 7 figures, all right, in order to produce this event. But our goal is to change the profession. Our goal is to put ourselves on a big map, like the entire profession, the female inside of our profession. So the whole world gonna start asking, like, who are these people? It's like, what is that network marketing thing? And how can I be part of it? So if you want to be part of the history, if you want to change your life, make sure you register and make sure every single person on your team registers. So Tara, I want to wrap it up real quick. And people are watching right now and seeing like, okay, she's so powerful. She's so confident. She's so smart. She's so successful. I want to be like her. So what advice would you give to people who are just getting started and still questioning and wondering if network marketing is for them, or can they be successful, or do they have what it takes?
Yes, I believe that everyone can be where I am, because nothing in my upbringing, nothing in my past work history, the day I joined network marketing, I didn't know anything. I was brand new. I was a tiny little seed, and I chose to follow mentors. I learned from them. I showed up. I immersed myself. When Eric started writing his books, I read the books. When he started the events, I started the events. I have never missed a Most Powerful Women. And every time, every year, I have brought more and more and more people with me. And it's my favorite event. I love the GoPro, but there's some special place in my heart because of my team is a lot women. I just love that, women hearing from other women, because we do have a lot of the problems and a lot of the social stigmas that men don't have. I'll just turn my camera just quickly. This is why I am where I am, because I have immersed myself. So I didn't know anything about network marketing. So I studied the profession. I've read 14, 15, 20 books. I've studied leadership. I've studied mindset. I've studied skill set, goal setting, you name it, anything. So if you're willing to learn the mindset, the skill set, the leadership, some of the fundamentals, and that's what these kind of events give you, you can go from wherever you are now to as high as you want. I didn't even think I could make $500 a month in network marketing. And here I am, like, my mind's blown at the success. But just be willing to learn and be willing to make mistakes, be willing to be sloppy and messy. It's not always roses and butterflies. And be willing to roll up your sleeves, because really, like, nowhere, and I can't even think, unless I was a neurosurgeon, one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, I don't know where I can make the kind of money and raise 3 children and have flexibility and bring my husband home from work and have a life and be able to pour into others and build a global team. Never in a million years did I think so. But as you go along, you start having more and more belief. But you just got to get started. You got to get started and be willing to be uncomfortable, be willing to fail, and be willing to learn over and over again. Be willing to grow. So I do believe in you. Get to this event, because you will learn so much from some of my best friends in the world are in this profession. I'm so happy to be part of this, Marina. Thank you for you and Eric. And I just can't wait to be there 14th, 15th, and 16th, just to see everyone and to see all of you.
Yeah, it's thank you so much, Sarah. It's gonna be so much fun. And one thing is, like, you show up by yourself, that's great, but make sure that you just don't keep this secret just for yourself. Make sure that you bring your entire team, because guess what? We're going to pour into them. We're going to give them the skills, the mindset necessary to take things to the next level. So part of your job as a leader going to be done, because all your team going to come out of this event fired up, ready to go. Everybody's on the same page with you. So now imagine you're the only person coming out of this event, or you have an army of people seeing and understanding and being excited and passionate exactly the same way as you are. So you can all lock arms and take your business to the next level. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, Sarah. I know you have a very busy schedule, but I really appreciate you spending your time with us. And everybody, put in the comments below if you already registered. Make sure to say I'm registered, or how many team members you're going to be bringing to this event. My goal is to bring at least minimum 150,000 people, 200,000, 250,000 people to this event, because it's absolutely free. We absolutely can do it, because 77% of all the distributors worldwide are women, and this is an event designed just for you. So if you're a distributor or customer or just a woman outside of network marketing space, make sure you come and check this event out, because there are going to be a lot of concepts and ideas shared with you that will help you not just in your business, but in your life in general. So I'm looking forward to see you, everybody. Thank you so much, Sarah. And Most Powerful Women event is waiting for you. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you there. Bye, guys.